controversy has the FBI keeping a watchful eye over Michigan skies. Recent flight data shows airplanes sometimes circle repeatedly over Dearborn, home to one of the country's largest Muslim populations. The FBI assures the flights are not evidence of a credible terror threat in Dearborn or anywhere else in southeast Michigan.
And joining us today is Dawud Walid, Executive Director of CARE Michigan, the Council on America-Islamic Relations, and Andy Arena with the Detroit Crime Commission, previously with the FBI, head of the Detroit FBI. We thank both of you for joining us. Dawud, let's start with you here. What is your problem with this surveillance? What problem do you have with it?
Well, we're not 100% sure what the surveillance is about, but what we do know through ACLU, Freedom of Information Act litigation, that the FBI has been involved in religious and racial mapping of communities of color, including the city of Dearborn, so that the FBI is saying there's no credible threat of any domestic terrorism in Dearborn. That has always been the case, but that has still not stopped the FBI from surveilling our community and actually religiously and racially mapping the Muslim community in Dearborn. And there's incontrovertible evidence that the FBI has been involved in this type of racial religious profiling.
Andy Arena, he's saying mapping. I think that's a code word for profiling here. Is the FBI profiling in Dearborn with airplanes?
Well, I teach a class on this at Cooley Law School. There's two different terms there. There's profiling and there's racial profiling. Profiling is a good law enforcement tool. You're predictive. You're trying to prevent crime. You're trying to predict who, what, where. Racial profiling is wrong and is illegal. I can tell you without unequivocally, the FBI does not racially, ethnically, religiously profile.
All right, I want to read a statement, too, that we got from the FBI. It starts by saying that they routinely use aviation assets in support of predicated investigations. And it goes on to say it should come as no surprise that the FBI uses planes to follow terrorists, spies, and serious criminals. That was from the FBI Deputy Director Mark Gilano. We have an obligation to follow those people who want to hurt our country and its citizens, and we will continue to do so. Dawud, your thoughts on that?
Well, they say that there's no credible terrorism threat, and they say they have an obligation to follow terrorist threats. They claim that they use these in conjunction with local law enforcement, but then Chief Ron Haddad, the chief of the Dearborn Police, said he had absolutely no idea about these flights that were flying over the Dearborn and Melvindale community, including over two well-attended mosques. So this is why my office contacted Congressman John Conyers, and we're looking for a congressional inquiry into this matter right now. We believe in transparency. If the FBI is doing what it claims to be doing, it should be completely transparent with Congress in regards to what they're doing actually here in Dearborn, Michigan. It's not about labeling individuals or blowing cases, but we as a public, we deserve to know what the FBI is doing in terms of flying these planes over large segments of our community.
Yeah, Andy Arena, a fair question. I know you're not working currently with the FBI and on any specific mission right now, but in general, what is the FBI looking for? And why not Southfield? Why not?
Well, Stephen, I think what you saw was 1 or 2 days of flight data. I think if you went back over and looked at a year's full of flight pattern, you'll see those planes flying over every major city in southeast Michigan. Every law enforcement agency, major law enforcement agency in the United States uses aircraft for surveillance. The FBI is no different. So I think this is much to do about nothing.
But what are they looking for?
Yeah. Well, usually what they are doing is in support of ground surveillance units. And so you'll have ground units surveilling terrorists, a bank robber, a gangbanger, a drug dealer. There are times where you have to pull the ground units off, and the air units' assets are much more of use. So they're actually many times following targets on the ground.
You know, the FBI has said that these aircraft are not equipped, designed, or used for bulk collection activities or mass surveillance. They're not routinely equipped with cell site simulators. If they wanted one of those, they have to get a court order to do that. Is that right, Andy?
That's correct. The FBI is not in the business, nor can it be in the business of bulk data collection. That's not what they do. And if they have a predicated target and they want to collect on a certain, let's say, cell phone, you just can't do it. You've got to go to a judge. You've got to get a court order. That's the law.
Dawud Walid, last word on this. What do you plan to do at this point now, armed with this information, besides, as you said, you've gone to Representative Conyers?
Well, there's short term and there's long term, and just because something is legal doesn't make it right. The FBI's own domestic operations investigation guide allows it to use as factors national origin and religion in order to open up initial threat assessment. So just because something is proper protocol doesn't mean that it's right. But the short term is we are contacting Congressman Conyers. We're looking for a congressional inquiry into the use of these spy planes, in particular in this area. And moreover, we really need to change these DOJ and FBI guidelines that really allows the FBI to use national origin, ethnicity, and religion as factors in opening up investigations or initial threat assessment against law-abiding American citizens.
All right, Dawud Walid, Executive Director of CARE Michigan, Andy Arena with the Detroit Crime Commission, formerly of the FBI. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you.